style, rotational style, things of that nature. Well, I've lived East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, and they're not necessarily always meant the same on every coast, right? When we talk about the term linear, we talk about a straight path, right? That's period what I mean. When we talk about rotational, it's getting the hips through the baseball. That's constant. But you may hear people from, we'll say, Asia, right? You're talking about the Korean, Chinese, those, when they talk about rotational hitting, they're talking about the bat gets linear like this and comes through, and their hips come through like this right here, right? We don't teach that anywhere in the United States anymore. You'll have some of the old school coaches that have been around 30, 40 years who have a program in a small town, and the players will filter into that program and they're happy. They will teach that. Again, I've been blessed to be able to be around some amazing coaches all over the place. And so what we try to do is you will hear us use the rotational and linear interchangeably sometimes. Because when we talk about linear, we're talking about a straight line from our hands to the baseball. So technically, that's still a linear straight line, right? As opposed to linear, which would be parallel to the ground, which we don't teach. Does that make sense what I'm saying? When we talk about rotational, you know, again, I hate this. Back in the day, we talked about squishing the bug. Well, that's not rotational. Rotational now is getting the hips from my starting point, right, forward when my body stays on line, right? So if I'm here and I want to go towards the baseball and attack, so my body can go forward and my hips will rotate on its axis, and I'm still here. Back in the day, they wanted us to be here, so away on your backside, and we're just going to turn and squish like this. Well, where's this weight going? Nowhere, right? So we want to get that weight from here. As the ball is coming out, I'm still perpendicular, here I am, and I'm rotating at the same time. And so my body's actually coming towards the baseball, but I'm still here, right? Because back in the day, everybody said, you're getting out front over top, and they don't want those hips moving, but we do. We want that slide hip. So when we put it, I use coach's eye, right? And we put it on there, we break it down, you will see if I'm starting on this line, when I'm done, my hips are out here, but I'm still here, right? So now we're going to take and transition a kid from understanding those two aspects and now set him on a tee or over a plate and put from the bottom and work our way all the way up through our hands, positioning, and then taking that and working it through a baseball. So we'll try to do that in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes. So if we're stepping up to a tee, and we're going to do teamwork, there's millions of drills we can do, right, with the tee. Right? There's a million drills. But right now, what we want to do is address the home plate, to address the pitcher, to address the swing, and then how our hands get through the hitting zone and our hips. And I think that portion in itself will help a lot of the young men, and even it's the same style that I teach softball. I mean, when the girls come to me, it's the same swing. I don't change anything. It's just, you know, you'll have those slap people that can slap hit, things of that nature in the softball aspect. Go somewhere else. I can't teach you that. I won't teach you that. But if you want to learn how to get those hips moving, rotating, then we can do that. So, when we talk about addressing the plate, most of the time when we're starting with the younger group, most of the time we want to address the middle of the plate. Right? We want to see the middle of the plate. Now, so many times, as the ball's coming faster, kids want to move further and further back in the zone. But we don't want to do that. We want to be constant so we can know location. The further we move back, then the ball adjusts up and down, right, accordingly. And then now we can be swinging over top. We move up. We can be swinging over. So we want to maintain a basis. And why is that? So many people are fixated on the kid being so good at something today. It's not about today. Because when they get ready to turn 12 and 13 and now they're going to play at a different level, now you got Uncle Charlie's, change-ups, right? And now we're moving back and forth. We don't want that. We want to keep them constant and have a basis where they can start with. Make sense? So, when we address it, typically what we do when I bring a young kid in is I'm using middle of the plate with my front foot. I'm using middle of the plate. It's just a nice reference point. They can see it. Then when we put up a tee, that's kind of where they're all typically located, unless you buy the 5 tees where you can move it around for different spots and so forth. So again, that's just a good reference point. And we all know that basically we want to have plate numbers, right? We want the bat, if I'm standing here, can I reach over top of that plate when I'm here and come across? Where does my tip come across? So again, each kid, based on height, arm length, and all of that, there is no standard answer to say, you want to be 3 inches forward, 2 inches back. Not really. Center of the plate, basically kid size, strength, things of that nature. Okay, so once we do that, and we address the plate, now we're talking about where do our feet go, right? Again, again, based on the skill level, well, this front foot, but I'm, again, looking at, for what the intent purpose of this is for, is to we're all on the same level. So we are going to we're going to run parallel line all the way back. Back foot's not front, it's not back, front foot's not open. We are going to start to be right here, right there. All right? Feet, shoulder width apart, good athletic stance, that's where we're at. We want to get there all the time. Again, there's millions of drills we can do, right? We're talking things like top hand, bottom hands, closed feet, wide feet. Again, this is basically breaking it down for the swing, positioning over the plate. So here we are. Once we set up, now we're talking about what do we do with our hands and such, right? We're talking about the parallel line before we get there. So the feet are setting up here, bat's in our hands. Right hand, left hand, it does not matter. Typically what we have a kid do is take your left thumb and put it right here on that shoulder blade, that's where your hand should be. We're not too far out here, we're not too far here, and we're definitely not too far back. What happens to it when we push our left hand back? Our shoulder turns. Now we're getting closed, right? So we won't want to do that. Just stay right here, look at the picture, touch there, that's where my hand should be. It's as simple as that. That's, again, your right hand, that's going to be your left hand. So we're right here. We always want our hand in a comfortable spot inside of our body right here, right? Again, we don't want to be pushed back here, then our arms get extended. We'll get into that a little bit more. Right here, set up, top hand's here, light grip, goes right on top, here I am. That's pretty much your stance when you set up. Slight bend in the knee, we're here, we're there, hands inside. You can see you can run a straight line from here to here. Just as so. What we always tell them is the bat is a flashlight. Flashlight always shines on our catcher. Always. So we're here, there it is, catcher's right there, it never moves. Never moves. And I'm right there. And according to what age we're talking about, if we're talking about little man right there, right? We're talking about things like loading and such of that nature. We don't really. That is your load right there. And I'm just right here, and I'm just quick, short to the ball. And as they grow, this starts to happen. Load starts to happen more and more as we progress through it. Basics here are, we're right here, thumbs against that shoulder. I'm square, I'm there, there's my hand inside. There's the flashlight, and I stay right there. Get too far extended here, right? Everybody wants to, I can get more power, I can get more out of here, right? I want to get here. We do that, it's impossible to hit a baseball in here because now you're coming down. That's called camping, coming over top. You cannot do that. Our hands are inside here, the ball's coming on the inside plane. All I do, knob to the baseball, I'm straight through. And my hips come right there, I'm straight through. Barrel the bat's out here, and I'm inside it, and I'm there. If you're out here, then next thing you know, the kids, right, they're coming over top. So that's the basic setup at every age. Every age. My son, we playing 12U this year. When he steps into the box, when he steps into the cage, when he steps into anything, he's there every time. Now I'm ready to go. And then as they progress, we talk about the more the load, the more the timing, the more the pitcher, the more the stretch, and all those type of things. All right? So now, go ahead and press it. So now what we're going to do is kind of talk about, we're going to take that, and we're going to talk about the bat, through the zone, the knob, here, our hands, where their hands are relationship to the baseball, right? Whether it's on the inside, middle, or the outside, never changes. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the lower half. What are we looking for? Again, we talked about it a little earlier. The old talked about just rotation on the back right here. But now, hopefully the camera will get here to where we'll see when he loads and that front foot comes up and comes forward, his whole half will come up and move and down and And that way it's there, and then it's exploding. So we're going to address the pitcher, right? Thumb is here, our hand is there. We're right here. Some coaches, different levels, they'll talk about the back elbow and where it should be and so forth. Each kid is a little bit different. I've been raised on coaches that talk about the 80% rule. The 80% rule is we teach 80% of the kids the exact same way. That last 20% is based on this kid. What is their ability? Is it their strength? Is it their quickness? Is it their size? Is it their brains? What is it? And then you take that into consideration, because if this kid is, 13, 14, he has the craziest swing you've ever seen in your life, but no matter what kind of pitching, it's effective, are we really as a coach going to change that? Some will say yes, some will say no. For me, the effort to change that, if the kid is consistent and good enough, is not quite what I want to do. What I'm looking at from there is, no matter how he gets there, when I mean gets there, point of contact, where is he at in relation to the perfect kid who has perfect mechanics, right? And I use this all the time. I don't know how many people play golf or watch golf, but a guy named Jim Furyk, right? He has one of the ugliest swings in the history of golf. But at point of impact, it's exactly like everybody else, right? But again, that's an anomaly, right? It's an anomaly. At the age of 7, 8, we're probably going to change that, right? At the age of 12, 13, what is my purpose? Is this kid going to go play D1? Does this kid want to have a good high school career? So there's a fine balance there. So again, what we're trying to do is get that 80% of all the kids that come up through you to me to do this right here, right? Is that fair? All right, so again, let's dress the baseball. So as we're dressing the baseball, okay, we got the stance built up, slight build to the leg, feet are about shoulder width apart. The knob is back here on the baseball. All right, so now we're saying at this point in time, technically he's ready to explode. The terminology now, he's ready to explode to the baseball. He doesn't need to load any further. Doesn't really need to even strike. You don't have to. It's about explosion and getting those hips forward. But the taller you get, the more balance you get by getting a little wider as you swing through the zone. So, we're going to assume a couple things here since we're not live. We're going to assume a couple things. Okay? We're going to assume that now we have a 10th, 11th grader stepping up. Right? So what happens to that 12, 13-year-old, and now they're moving back to 60 feet, right? Things of that nature. So now it's more of a timing issue, right? When they're at 40, 48 still, whatever, when they're at 48, man, this is, I'm ready to go. Here it comes. The kid is a monster at the age of 12 in the shape of 3 years, right? So it's just, I'm loaded, I'm ready to go, we're exploding. So that's what we're going to start at, what we're going to talk about, right? So again, our load for right now is right there, and we're done. That's it. Right? From that point, it is about getting our hands in a linear path that is not parallel to the ground. Understand? So the ball sitting here, the tip is always between the body and the ball. So no matter where the pitch is at, the pitch is right down the middle. As this starts to come through towards the pitcher, as he's pulling this through, that knob is right in there, and he's pushing it down through. He's here, almost equal distance between there and the ball. And that bat is on a straight plane all the way down, linear plane, as it's coming down, right? Hands are inside, right? So load it back up again. So here he's here. So it does not matter if the ball's in the front up here. Again, that has to stay between at a rate that's out front of the body more. It's the same concept, nothing changes. You don't have to necessarily swing earlier, you're recognizing the pitch earlier. It's a big difference in terminology of swinging earlier and recognizing the pitch earlier. Right? At 9, 10, 11, the ball's going to be on the inside of the plate, it's going to be on the inside of the plate. Right? So we need to see that coming out of the hands, and that's a little bit of our coaching job. So now he's recognized the ball, so therefore my swing starts a little bit earlier. The hips start to go forward a little more, so, and the hands come through just as so. Now notice I said the hips come through first. Hips are always first. Right? So when we're up here, again, as we're getting older and we're seeing fastballs and changeup, Once we get to here, our hips can be open, but you notice my hand never, ever, ever moved. It is right there. So now it doesn't matter. I still have everything over center. I still see it. I'm still inside. I know it's a change up, and I'm going the other way. As opposed to, get out here early, and now you're front side. Big difference. Right? So now again, no matter where the pitch is at, pitch is located, it's going to go inside corner. We talk, what's the terminology we use when we want to see the ball on the outside corner? We want to see it deep. See, that's what we want a kid to understand. I want to see it deeper. We will do drills where we say, I want you to hit in that dugout 50 times in a row. Literally, hit it in that dugout 50 times in a row. You have to have confidence, because all you're trying to do is see another pitch, right? That's all we're trying to say, see another pitch. That pitcher will not hit the same spot every time. See another pitch. So again, the biggest thing we always have a problem at doing on that outside pitch is wanting to go out here and get it, right? And our upper body starts to come out. We're still staying over center. Our hands are still staying there. The difference is these stay closed, right? I see it outside, so I'm staying closed. And as I see it, I'm watching the ball come deeper, 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 and my hands stay back. Once again, here, between the baseball, halfway would be out here, and he's going to drive the bait to the bat, to the ball, the opposite way. So as he's slowly coming through the baseball, it's on the outside, he sees it on the outside, it's the same spot, and he would hit the ball in the middle. Nothing changes. See the ball deeper. The number one drill you can do is literally set that thing up right there, turn that net that way, and say, hit it into that net 90,000 times. In baseball again, when we're talking on the club travel level, any level for that matter, we have what we call a spray chart. Right? Until we give prizes for the most balls hit to the backside, if you're right-handed, be the right side and left side. A proper spray chart should probably be somewhere around 30, 40, and 30. But it comes from, I would say in practice, we probably hit 75% of the balls middle to backside. Because if you can hit that baseball, you can hit any baseball. Just recognizing it's outside, I keep myself and I'm there and I'm driving it off of. Change doesn't swing, body positioning doesn't change, I don't get up on the plate any further, none of that. All I'm going to do, baseball terminology, see it deeper and just drive it right there. Just drive it right there. You got to stay back, you can't stay there. All right? Now, load it back up again. So, we're going to talk a little bit about the finish. So, back again, years ago, relax for a second, when we talked about hitting, so many people talked about getting that back elbow up, right? That back elbow up. When you get back elbow up, the first thing your hands do is fall. That's why every kid's a little bit different. We typically teach the right wing is somewhere around right here. That's it. Your grip is so light right here, it's ridiculous, right? So you're somewhere around in here. Now, as we're coming, let's go back a little bit. We always talked about finish, when you finish, you come through the zone and you swept through the zone, right? Well, again, that's gone. We don't sweep through the zone anymore. We are going linear from point here, straight down to point of impact. Now, the difference is a lot in today's baseball is what do we do from point of impact to finish? Right? How many, I know my dad, God rest his soul, would say, you're uppercutting, you're swinging straight up, son. You're swinging straight up. Well, one reason was because I was coming here, and how else did I get the bat through? And that has transitioned from that to, we technically do want to uppercut on our finish. We are technically going to come down through the baseball, hit the first baseball, then we hit the what? The second baseball, and then we finish here. We sweep through. Everybody knows who Big Papi is, right? One of the most pure swings in the history of the game. And it looks just so awkward, but now everyone is teaching his drill, and it's called the Big Papi. And so where the drill is when you get over that and we're setting up, we are trying, when we come through the baseball, we are going to hit the first baseball, and we tell the kid we want to hit the second baseball, because we want to get through it, right? We want to extend from here, push through the second baseball. But then Big Poppy, when he finishes, it's there. It's exactly how he finishes, just like that. It's like you're serving a tray, right? Because here's the concept. Here, you got one chance to hit a ball, and that's right in the middle. If you hit it on the top, what's going to happen? Down. If you hit on the bottom, what's going to happen? Straight up. When you come down, you're coming through the baseball from top to bottom, right? And then when we finish with anything, it's like shooting a basketball. Rotation is everything. Rotation is what carries. So as we're coming here and we're coming down through, we want to finish up, just like that. So we do that drill over and over and over and over. It's getting from here, down to here, and then back to there, straight feet. They do it at every single level. That's the finish. Anytime you see any kid, any adult, hit a baseball here, and the bat finishes to here, right, it's incorrect. The bat's got to be over the shoulder. Because that swing is down and through and back to there.